Welcome back to Okano's Kitchen in Vermont. I'm Sarah. We're just finishing up on a beautiful morning, a little planting of our garlic, which we do every year. Garlic is a staple in our pantry. We plant it in the fall and harvest it in the early spring and summer. And I'm thinking I'm going to use some garlic today in our menu. Phil, will you take the hoe? I'm thinking about a fish chowder, use that in fish chowder, and probably in my Spanish potato tortilla. So come on up to the kitchen and I'll show you some secrets. Let's get going. I want to start with focaccia, and today we're going to make it in 2 round cake pans. My samurai bread mix was mixed with water. It's been rising for about 50 minutes. And now I'm going to put that into this cake pan that's been well greased and spread it out so it's kind of nice and thin. And then I'm going to put it in the oven after I dress it up with some shallots and sprinkles on top. So we spread it out in the pan. So one mix would make two loaves about this size. So this is about a 12-inch round cake pan. And then I'm going to take some olive oil and spread that on the focaccia top. This is the first step. And now I'm going to coat it with some freeze-dried shallots and some everything bagel seasoning. And the first step is to just stick that in a preheated oven at 350. Okay, next on the menu, we're going to get our dessert in the oven because it'll take about 40 minutes. This is my mother's lemon sponge pudding, and it's really quite simple. I've just beaten up some egg yolks with sugar and a little bit of flour, lemon, and then what makes this really delicious is the lemon rind. So we're going to just grate in some fresh lemon rind. And then I beat up the egg whites to a stiff peaks, and I'm going to fold that into the lemon. Really simple. And I've got my buttered baking dish next to me, and after I fold this in, I'm just going to stick it out in the oven at 350 for about 40 minutes. And then we can get started with our main dish. So here we go, folding those in. Make sure that they're nice and combined with that yummy lemon. I'm going to pour that in. And that'll be delicious served up with a little bit of raspberry or any kind of fresh berries that you have, blackberries or raspberries. We'll put that in the oven. And our focaccia is ready for the next step. So I'm going to show you what you do with a focaccia next. So we're going to take a wooden spoon and we're going to just put some holes in the focaccia so that it can soak up more of the olive oil. So poke some holes in there, and that's looking great. That's going to take about the same time as the lemon pudding. All right, let's make a Spanish potato tortilla. We're using thinly sliced. I thinly sliced these potatoes on a mandolin and sauteed them with some onions and quite a little of olive oil. This is about 8 egg yolks, 8 whole eggs. And I'm going to gently fold those into the potatoes with the onions. Then we're going to put them into this non-stick skillet. I'm going to mix those gently so we don't break the potatoes because they've already been cooked. Okay, now I'm going to take gently, I might have had a few more potatoes than I needed, but I'm going to pour this into my non-stick skillet. Oh, I think that's going to be perfect. Look at that. Now I'm going to cook that down till it sets, and then I'm going to stick that in the oven along with the lemon sponge pudding and the focaccia. This is a great dish to have. Actually, it would be a great brunch idea, and you could serve this with some salmon on the top. It's really kind of one of those things that you can eat at room temperature. Just a great side, hearty side. And then we'll work on our fish chowder. So while the potatoes are setting on the back burner, I'm going to start with my seafood chowder. And in this dish, I am sauteing some carrots, onions, celery, and some red potatoes this time, and of course my garlic that I talked about earlier. And I'm just going to saute those up until they soften a bit. And then for my fish, I've cut up some scallops, some swordfish, and shrimp, and I'm going to add those to the vegetables. Stir that up a little bit. And the juices of the fish will add to the chowder. And then I've got some beautiful lobster broth here that I made from my leftover lobster shells, and I'm going to add that in. And since the potatoes and the vegetables are already cooked, as soon as this fish cooks, then the seafood chowder will be done. You don't want to overcook the fish. So I'm going to just cover that up and let that cook for a bit, and then I'll taste it in a second. And now the potatoes are ready to go into the oven to set. So they pretty much, the eggs have set around the outside, so I'm just going to stick those in the oven with the rest of my dishes. So you obviously have to get a pan that can go in the oven, and everything else is looking delicious. Okay. The last thing I'm going to make in this episode is a shredded Brussels sprout salad. It's actually raw, which I love. I'm going to shred it up on the mandolin. Be careful of your fingers. And then just compost the rest. You could also use this in your soup stock. But I'm just going to compost. On the farm, we always have to compost. It's all about the soil and keeping the soil healthy. So we're going to I'll just show you a little bit of how the Brussels sprouts can be thinly cut on the mandolin. And then all you're going to do with this, it's really so simple. You're going to add half a lemon, some of your favorite olive oil, and a little salt and pepper. Salt. And it's really delicious. If you wanted to add some sweet, you could add some dried cranberries or some toasted almonds or any kind of nut. But amazingly, Brussels sprouts are delicious raw. It's all about the olive oil. All right, let's check the rest of our food. Well, I think everything's coming together quite nicely. I'm going to first taste my soup for seasoning. Oh wow, look at that beautiful fish broth is just really seasoned up this chowder. Maybe a touch more salt, but otherwise that is ready to be served. So we'll bring that over. Didn't overcook the fish, that looks delicious. Now let's see what else we have going on here. Okay, well we have our focaccia. That looks delicious. Hot out of the oven. Yum. What else do we have here? Oh, we have our Spanish potato tortilla and our lemon sponge pudding. Okay. Let's see how this tortilla did. Now I'm just going to loosen it up around the sides just to give me a little, say a little prayer every time we do this one. It helps to have a non-stick pan. All right, so let's go over here. Move that to the side so I can put a plate on top and then pray this thing comes out, okay? Oh, beautiful, voila! My Spanish potato tortilla did just what it was told. Okay, so we have that delicious potato delight, and I'm gonna start serving this up. So we have our fish chowder with shrimp, swordfish, and scallops. And I made a little herb sauce to go on the side, which is basically just cilantro and parsley and dill that I put in the Cuisinart with some jalapeno and some avocado oil, but it'll make a really nice, just little extra taste to the chowder. Then we have our raw broccoli salad with a little lemon juice, salt and pepper, and olive oil. And then we can cut into this beautiful tortilla. So I'm gonna grab a knife. And this can just sit at room temperature. You don't have to eat it hot. It's actually better if it cools off a little bit. But look at that, the egg set up just nicely, and the onions and the potato. Delicious. Okay. And then let's cut into the focaccia. Oh yeah. Look at that samurai bread. Does it again. That's gonna be delicious dipped into our seafood chowder. Put that on the side. And then I'm just gonna spoon up a little of this dessert and serve that with our beautiful berries, lemon sponge pudding with some fresh raspberries. And voila. Bon appetit. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you next time, I hope. Another episode in Vermont. Thank you.
Welcome to the Mountain Guides. They operate 5 mountain guiding companies in the American West. The Mountain Guides of Utah, the Mountain Guides of Red Rock, the Mountain Guides of Montana, the Mountain Guides of Colorado. Their flagship operation in Jackson Hole is based in Jackson and leading trips all over
the high peaks of the Rocky Mountains.
Join their custom mountain adventures led by experienced guides in the iconic destinations. For more information, log on to themountainguides.com.